Right, so today the problems at Juniper Inn Hotel deepen and a new villain arrives on the scene in what is part 2 of the mini-series. So at the end of part 1, Gordon confronted Robert about his treatment of staff, many of whom are overdue wages and underpaid for their time, and in doing so witnessed his abusive behaviour to one of them firsthand. However, after growing sick of listening to Robert try to worm his way out of taking any personal responsibility for his failings as a boss and a hotel manager, Gordon stormed off to continue his tour of the hotel. Well, after making his way upstairs, he meets the estate manager, Ryan, who reveals that his pay is 2 weeks overdue, and he too is treated awfully by Robert.
It's always as if what you're saying to him doesn't get through because he sees you as not an equal. He treats me like that, and that really bothers me because I feel like I've contributed a lot. It's actually pretty degrading.
This is insane.
Insane, but from what we've heard already, hardly surprising. Ryan then takes Ramsay on a tour to see parts of the hotel that aren't available to the public, and once again, he is shocked by what he finds. They start off in the basement, and if you thought the antiques in the lobby were overwhelming, wait until you see this.
Stereos, wine racks, quilts, chairs, tables, copper pans.
Robert prides himself in having to have the very best of everything.
Christ, there's enough in here to open 3 restaurants. Is all this stuff still brand new?
Most of it is brand new.
To have thousands of dollars of antiques, furniture, glassware, crockery, and goodness knows what else just sitting there, whilst upstairs there are countless members of staff who haven't been paid in weeks, is indefensible. And this isn't even the worst of it. At least with the basement, storage is arguably the main purpose of the room, but the same can't be said of the office.
Oh no,
Please
come on.
in.
This is the office.
This is the office.
Oh my God. This is insane. This guy has lost the plot.
No wonder no one gets paid on time and they all get sent the wrong amount. How the hell do they expect to be on top of any aspect of running the hotel with this level of organisation? Maybe there's some method to the madness and it's sort of organised chaos. Like, some people who work like this really do somehow know where everything is. But I really doubt that that's the case here. Either way, if you thought that was the end of the hoarding, we are just getting started. Outdoors, there are 5 giant shipping containers, each one of them absolutely filled to the brim with even more stuff.
Oh my God. Look at this stuff, honestly. I mean, they must be packed with thousands of dollars worth of...
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
How much stuff does one need?
This is mental. If Robert's 15 minutes of fame end after this episode, he has a guaranteed star spot in the TV show Hoarders. Financially, it just doesn't make any sense. So Gordon decides to sit down with Robert's co-owner, Ari Nikki. Ari is the man who funded it all, having pumped over $1 million from his severance package and retirement fund into the project. However, with that fund now running dry and the ship sinking, Gordon wants to give him a reality check.
This place, it's dreamland, a playground for your boyfriend Robert.
Your biggest problem is not Juniper Hill. Your biggest problem is fucking Robert.
Is doing what to Robert? Also, a bit hypocritical, isn't it? I mean, he wasn't happy about it, but Gordon went through the back door himself in episode 1. Anyway, I digress. Gordon then goes on to enlighten Ari as to the gravity of the situation and as to just how bad things are with Robert at the helm, but Ari seems strangely unconcerned. So Gordon continues with his investigation with a nightmare dinner service up next. But first, a quick message in relation to our paid partnership with BetterHelp. Whether it's to cope with working for a boss like Robert or to deal with the consequences of running a high-stress business like a hotel and kitchen, I often think that therapy would help this reality TV lot greatly. Unfortunately, finding a therapist can be hard, and finding the right therapist can be even harder. That is why BetterHelp's mission is to make therapy accessible. BetterHelp is a platform that makes finding a therapist easy because it's online, it's remote, and by filling out a few questions, BetterHelp can match you with a credentialed therapist in as little as a few days. Then, if you don't really fit with that therapist, which is a common thing with therapy, you can easily switch to a new one at no additional cost. It is easy to sign up and get matched with a therapist. All you have to do is click the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/arthurtv. Not only does that link help support this channel, it also gets you 10% off your first month at BetterHelp, so you can connect with a therapist and see if it helps you. So if you're struggling with anything at all, consider online therapy with BetterHelp. Remember, the link to that is in the description, or you can visit betterhelp.com patreon.com/arthurtv. Huge thank you to BetterHelp for supporting this channel. Now let's get back to the video. So as evening approaches, Gordon decides to observe dinner service. Unsurprisingly, as all of the guests show up at once, the lack of organisation, experience and leadership becomes very apparent.
There's an order.
Are you guys kidding me with all these orders?
Who's writing the tickets? Do you mean table 4, table 5?
Some of them have names on them, some of them do not.
Who wrote that ticket? There's not even a table number on there.
Who sat everybody at once like this?
It's a nightmare start, and the chaos only deepens. As the night goes on, dishes spend far too long sat on the kitchen counter, leaving customers hungry and frustrated. Much of the food that is sent out is too cold or burnt and gets sent back, and the innkeepers reveal that they've lost track of 30 drinks, handing them out without recording who is getting served what, meaning they're unable to charge for them. Or at least that's what they claim. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if all the employees had snuck out back and sank a few, just to help them cope with the stress of it all. Anyway, eventually Robert strolls his way back into the kitchen, and when Gordon tells him to take control of his mess, he once again deflects onto his chef.
I keep trying to,
You can talk to him, he's your fucking chef.
Well, when I try to communicate, he says, yeah. No, I can't do it.
No, he doesn't. Fucking
do
find
it.
your balls and tell him you need to talk
I
to him.
found my balls. Do I want him to walk out?
As if his only two options are to either speak to him in a way that doesn't help the situation, or to degrade and abuse him to the extent that he walks out. Has he ever considered that maybe if they can't get food out of the kitchen fast enough, they should hire more kitchen staff? And if they can't get all the food to the tables as quickly as the food is coming out of the kitchen, maybe they should hire more waiting staff? And if all the orders are coming in at once and it's too much to handle, maybe they should implement some sort of staggered system so that people aren't seated and ordering all at the exact same time. It is amateur hour over here, and it is embarrassing.
There's always a third dish not ready or a fourth dish.
Well, it
not
must be
ready.
1 or 2 minutes behind, but unless you fucking ask, how are you supposed to fucking know?
I have been asking. I said, where's this chicken?
So ask him again.
Finally, someone not letting Robert scapegoat everybody else. Well, after the incredibly stressful dinner service comes to an end, Ramsay gathers the staff to talk about their problems. One by one, they begin getting things off their chest, talking about lack of standards, cohesion, teamwork, and structure. But as they grow increasingly confident in being honest about the situation, Ari's fragile ego can take no more.
Bragging about
Excuse
making
me.
one plate is nothing to brag about.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
I am the boss.
You can't call yourself the boss if you don't fucking pay them.
I would rather have them wait than write a check that's going to bounce. Because
What absolute rubbish. If the check is going to bounce, don't just not pay your staff whilst we're sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars of antiques. Sell some of them, you insufferable snob. Also, I was kind of hoping that Ari would be the voice of reason in their relationship, but he has just behaved just as reprehensibly as Robert did in the last episode. They're both as pathetic and self-aggrandizing as each other, and the excuses don't stop.
I don't have a secretary, Gordon. I'm sorry. I have to have peaceful time in order to do my work.
Are you always this pathetic?
I am not pathetic.
He is pathetic though, isn't he? There's just always an excuse, always a reason for why he's failing to do what's expected of him. And again, with the same type of problem, there's an easy logical solution. If there's a problem due to the lack of a secretary, hire a secretary. You can't just prioritize your peacetime in your $100,000 RV over providing your staff with their well-earned livelihoods. And then the slimy little worm comes out with something even more disgusting.
They don't have to work here.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
you know, the bottom line is...
Oh, how dare you? You
Can't-
disrespectful, disgusting man. They don't have to work here.
I genuinely wish they would all just quit. He has no idea how lucky he is to have staff willing to stay on, getting paid as little as they do, as infrequently as they do, and getting paid as poorly as they do. If jobs were in infinite supply, there is no doubt in my mind that they would just walk now.
You're not the Great Gatsby. You're Robert. There's only me in here.
Excuse me.
Go on then, you pompous fuck.
Excuse me.
Unreal. This is exactly why we love Gordon Ramsay so much. There are so many shows that cover people like Robert and Ari, but so few of them have someone like Gordon saying to their faces exactly what everyone at home wishes they could. And you can tell from that pompously delivered "excuse me" that nowhere near enough people have been doing so.
Don't speak to me like
Well, I'm
that.
telling you, get your
tell
head out
me.
your ass and start getting a little fucking real. You still haven't got it. You're just blaming people. Well, I'm blaming you for not taking charge. Get fucking real.
Chef Ramsay cooking up an absolute storm. This is British heritage at its best. And this wake-up call is more overdue than Barbara's paycheck. It might seem rude, but it's absolutely called for, and it's for their own good. If Ari and Robert don't change, and fast, they really are going to lose everything. Well, after an intense evening, everyone heads off to their rooms to cool off for the night. The following morning, Gordon's investigations once again continue. After breakfast, Gordon links back up with estate manager Ryan to find out just how many rooms Robert has been dishing out to his friends that remain unpaid for.
I have 50 room nights. That's between November and December.
Well,
Just
just
the
2 months.
average, they're $200 a night.
But it's like $10,000 in revenue. They're running it almost like
Clubhouse.
a clubhouse, almost like they're trying to buy friends.
Yeah, exactly. Not only is it terrible business, but it's also just embarrassingly desperate. Also, that $10,000 is just missed out revenue. It doesn't even include the cost for the food, drink, and goodness knows what else he's been giving up for free. It's all such an embarrassing facade, and his friends aren't going to be impressed by his lavish lifestyle when they find out that he's $15,000 in the red every month. Although I suspect as long as the handouts keep coming, the fake friend freeloaders couldn't care less. To bring even more shame to his name, Ryan tells Gordon that to recoup some of his losses, Richard dips his greasy little hands into the staff's tip jar. So Gordon immediately pays a visit to the waiting staff to confirm if the rumours are true.
Is it true that Robert takes a percentage of the tips?
Yes,
And what percentage of tips does he take?
what we get.
He gets the same as you.
Yeah.
They took the tips off.
Our VAT tip.
Serving store-bought food is one thing, but stealing your server's tips is like spitting in the face of Gordon Ramsay's mother. If you thought he was angry before, now he is absolutely livid. It's theft, it's despicable, and it's all to subsidize the inn so Robert and his friends can keep living the high life for free. Understandably, Gordon doesn't stick around and storms off to find Robert, who, surprise surprise, is cowering away in his motorhome.
I have tried to work with my staff to teach them that this is the way I want service done.
You're so bad.
If I started to take tips, they would maybe pay attention to that.
That is insane. It's the worst management model I've ever heard in my entire life.
Seriously, how dumb can you be? If you're teaching an entire group of people to do something and not one of them is picking it up, maybe it's not their inability to learn, but your inability to teach that's the problem. Instead of stealing their income to punish them for what is likely your own shortcomings, maybe spend some of your own time or money coming up with better ways for them to learn, like proper paid staff training days. Well, after telling Robert that he really doesn't need to be stealing a 70-year-old lady's tips, Ramsay then asks him about the free rooms that he's been dishing out.
The reason I did that was because I thought that they would at least tip my staff.
What are you doing?
And I will call my friends and I will tell them, look, what happened?
You haven't got the fucking balls to call your friends and ask them to leave a tip.
Yes, I do.
Call them then.
To be fair, even if they did tip the staff, that doesn't help the hotel from going under, because that's still time that the staff could be spending elsewhere. And the business still has to bear all of the other costs like food, drink, heating, electricity, and so on. Surprisingly though, Robert does actually have the balls to complete the look alongside his dick personality, and he rings up a friend who stayed recently to ask about the supposed lack of tips.
It's Robert. You stayed here recently. I was under the impression that you and Greg left a tip. Did you leave a tip?
I left the money with you. You mean,
I think my time's done here.
That was one of the things that I was hoping you had done.
Surely he knew that was the case, so why make that call and expose yourself in front of everyone? I mean, I'm grateful he did, and I'm sure Gordon is too, because that's all the evidence he needs to conclude that this isn't someone he wants to be helping right now. And so he once again furiously storms off, leaving Robert in a panic, desperately calling his other friends for answers.
Did you tip the staff? Because they're telling people that they haven't been tipped.
I left the money with you.
Oh, so I need to do that. I have somehow lost that.
Of course you lost that. Have you seen the state of your office? How can you expect to be on top of anything when what should be the hub of your organization looks like someone chucked a small bookstore into a blender and left it there? To be honest though, it would not surprise me at all if this was just another facade. And deep down he knows he stole that tip too.
I'm at the end of my rope, and I'm gonna lose everything. I'm gonna have to start all over again if this doesn't work, and I just don't seem that I can do it anymore. I know I can't do it.
End of your rope? Yes. About to lose everything? Also yes. Should you start all over again if this doesn't work? Absolutely not. Also, he's not crying because he feels bad for his staff. He's crying because he got outed and embarrassed on national TV. And because the jig is up. He just knows he isn't going to be able to keep getting away with this theft and abuse of power any longer. Well, with Gordon storming off having completed his investigations, next up it's time to find out if Gordon is going to help them turn the ship around, or whether he's going to tear them to pieces and leave them in the dust. So if you want to make sure you don't miss out on that final part, make sure you're subscribed down below. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.